Everything's on YouTube. Everyone's on YouTube. The kids are on YouTube and everything like that.
Okay.
You know, I want to expose abuse and how the government and HSC and adoption boards and agencies all covered it up, like, you know what I mean? Well, where do you want me to start? I mean, it's a complicated story. I turned 50 in October, like, you know what I mean? And generally speaking, like with 1 in 4 that had to go to England to expose it, the abuse they suffered. And the reason why they had to go to England was to escape the system over here because they would have been criminalised. You know, whatever said they were delusional, whatever, like I was, and put in psychiatric hospitals to cover up the abuse, which is what happened in the country, like, you know. The HSC allowed the mental health services, you know, to abuse human rights victims, to abuse victims under the Mental Health Act, human rights abuse, which the United Nations has criticised Ireland for. The church stole me off my mother, and when a child trafficking ring down Bashford and other baby and mother homes, where my mother had to pay a lot of money. It's not a story about bitterness or revenge or anything like that, you know, because I believe my adopted mother suffered a severely hard time. She never went to school, you know, and I think she was abused. It's where the need for remorse. It's where an abuse victim abuses, you know.
But she did manipulate the mental health services.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She pretended.
What did she do?
Well, I mean, when I had the breakdown at 23, it was an emotional breakdown. You know,
what caused it?
Pressure, stress. I had an undiagnosed sleep disorder at the time called obstructive sleep apnea, which can be seen as mania, because when you're sleep deprived, if you can suffer mania. You go to a psychiatrist, they say, oh, you got bipolar, and then when you're sleep deprived, you can get paranoid and delusional, you know, and they can say you have schizophrenia. I was sleep deprived all my life, you know, and I've been working hard in England, building sites and all. I've worked in college, went to Bolton Street College, fantastic college, hard as hell, best reputation in the world, you know, but man, I was there and I said, what am I doing this for? You know, I wanted to get into the diploma to get the hell out of the country, away from what I was dealing with, you know, to go back to America or England or somewhere like, just get out of the country.
And what were you dealing with then?
Abuse.
Family?
I was dealing with my adopted family, what they put me through. I've done mechanical engineering, 86% in exams. I went through mechanical engineering, dropped out because of what my family were doing to me. Especially my mother and my brothers, Ronan, Connor, Donald and Angus, fighting me all the time. Having their own lives, best buddies, goths and all that kind of stuff. Getting everything, their own jobs and all that kind of thing. You know? Man, I mean...
And when did you first find out you were actually adopted?
The age of 12.
Yeah, what happened there?
Cycled I got on my bike, cycled up to Dundalk without knowing where I was going, just tore up on the bike. Went to a friend's house that I knew about, and
this is a friend of the family.
Yeah, that I grew up with. I knew I had friends up there, because I grew up in Dundalk and Blackrock, and a lot of good friends up there. And
this was a neighbour you'd known.
Yeah, and I asked her, was I living with the family? And she said, no, they're not your real family. I spent 3 days up there, man, you know, just blown out of it. I mean, you tell a 12-year-old kid that he's not living with his family, and he's thinking, what am I to do? And I was sitting up there for 3 days, stuck, saying, holy shit, I'm fucked. Where am I going to go? And I said to Marie, can I stay with you? Oh no, you have to go back to your family. But they're not my family. But you have to go back. I was saying, go back to this? To what? To beat? To work? Getting up at 11, from the age of 11, getting at work, having to get up at 11 and serve 500 houses.
Would your brothers have had to do that sort of work?
Well, my brothers helped the milkman, but they had a paper round, but they got up at 7. The parents got them a paper round, paid for a paper round. I mean, see, the difference between me and them is they value money, they're materialistic. They don't love life like I do. They study, they talk badly about people, they have no heart. I mean, this is about years of experience. Why do wars start? Why does abuse happen? I wrote a story in the Village magazine, The Need for Remorse. I forgave my abuser. You know, I am not an abuse victim, but I was in denial. I am an abuse victim. I'm 50 years old and an abuse victim.
But had you been treated differently to your brothers?
Yeah, without doubt.
And
In
they
every
ganged
which
up on
way.
you?
Yeah, but see, she rejected me. She never wanted me. She told me years later she never wanted me as a kid. My father wanted me. Jim Heaney, man from Armagh, you know, or down, you know, gentleman. But he was a coward, you know. He had no guts about him, you know. Just some boyo came down and said to escape the conflict in the north, you know. Nice guy. Married a woman because he felt sorry for her. Gave her everything she wanted. She didn't love him. He loved her, but she didn't love him. But they were materialistic. You know, you put a person like me who loves life into a person who loves money, you're gonna have conflict. It's not gonna work. It doesn't work. They were totally different than me. I was from Cork. When you adopt somebody, you're supposed to adopt them into the correct family. They're supposed to be asked questions and everything. This did not happen to me, I found out. I was born in Beshford in Cork, the baby and mother home, right? That closed down 1998, I think it was, due to the amount of babies that died there. You know, a lot of babies died. We were vaccinated. We were given illegal vaccinations, experiments. You know, I mean, you don't take a child away from its mother unless you need to. These days, they don't do it. You know, but I mean, to put it into a family and not check up on it, not make sure it's safe and sound, you know, and just leave it there. They didn't adopt me through the normal methods. I was sold. Beshurf was a child trafficking organisation run by the Catholic Church. And the EU have asked Beshurf to be investigated for child trafficking. My mother, right, Chris Dinan from Bruff, a beautiful woman who's heartbroken to this day over losing me, right? I saw her twice. I didn't realise I was never going to see her again, you know. And then John Denny, my uncle, who I met down in Bruff, and my grandma. And then I find out all my cousins are special branch in coppers. My dream was to be a copper. Instead I went to college because that was the earmark. I was brainwashed to go to college. I was brainwashed to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was brainwashed to hate Cork people. I was brainwashed in every which way, you know. I mean, you brainwash somebody, but I knew there was something wrong. I fought it. I fought them, you know. I rebelled at the age of 12 and I fought. I knew they were wrong and I fought the system, but I fell apart at 23. I cracked up. One day my mind just snapped.
It just hit you.
It just hit me. And you put anybody in that situation, and
They would have cracked earlier.
They would have cracked. They would have cracked earlier. You know, put somebody in a war zone, children growing up in war zones or whatever, they're going to crack. But that doesn't mean to say they have psychiatric problems. You know, that doesn't mean to say they're going to suffer a psychiatric problem for the rest of life. Well, I found out years later, she told the doctors that I was schizophrenic, right? From the age I was born, from when I was born, she said I was schizophrenic. She even brought me to see a psychiatrist when I was a kid. Before I was 10, she says, "Oh, brought to see a psychiatrist." You know, I knew you had a psychiatric illness.
So that's why how she manipulated the mental
Yeah.
health services.
What happened was she went out to break me psychologically, and she did. I didn't know I had sleep disorder. I didn't know I had ADHD. I didn't know I was dyslexic. When I was going to school and everything like that, I failed exams and everything. I was only average, but I said, I'm better than this. But yeah, I couldn't get the marks, and because of that, they said I was stupid. They used to say I was stupid because I wouldn't get A's. I was only getting B's and then doing passive exam. I mean, ridiculous. I mean, what I went through, saying I was stupid and everything, yeah, I was smarter than them, like, you know. I wish I could give up cigarettes, Richard. When you have a panic attack, they just tell you to go home. And then then you stop sleeping, and then you end up in psychiatric hospital locked up for
They don't
13
medicate you at all, or
Well, I wasn't medicated for about 7 years when I developed panic anxiety, but I'm medicated now, and now I find out the medication Ativan is like heroin. It's a gateway drug to heroin. So now I'm addicted to Ativan, and I can't get off it. If I don't take it, I stop sleeping, and I start getting. I know when I stop sleeping, I'm in serious trouble then, like, you know. So saw a clinical psychologist assessment for 2 years, where all the abuse came out, and then another 2 years after that, and 6 months of DBD. I'm emotionally regulated, so I have diabetes as well due to the medication because of the weight gain. That's knocked 20 years off my life. Can kill you.
Can I ask you about the breakdown you had at the age of 22 or 23, right?
Yeah, first time it happened, man. Wow, I tell you one thing, that was scary.
But that was realization, was it? That
Realization of what was going on, but not knowing what was going on.
yeah, and your psychologist teased all that shit out, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
She talked
So
about
when did
it.
that happen?
I done psychological profiling for 5 weeks, assessments.
And what were you when that happened?
How old? That was about 4 years ago when I was about 46.
So you're 46 and
I'm
23,
50. Hey man, I hit the big 50 there last October, you know. Big 50.
At 23 you had the breakdown, right?
Yeah,
And
23
you
I had a
didn't know what the
breakdown.
fuck was going on, really. Like.
Well, I just started crying. It was an emotional breakdown. My emotions just went haywire.
Okay.
I just went haywire. All I wanted to do was find out who the hell my family were.
Because of the abuse that you suffered, and you weren't.
Well, I didn't see it as abuse.
But you weren't
remember.
cognizant of that until the age of 46.
See, I didn't see it as abuse until
it
recently.
took you twice as long. It took you twice as long in your lifetime. Like, think about this: you were 23 when you had your breakdown.
Yeah.
You were 46 when you teased all this shit out with the psychologist.
Yeah.
So it took you another 23 years to figure out all that shit, right?
Yeah. And the reason why, because of drugs I was on, killed my mental ability. And not only physically to kill me, but killed me mentally.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I was also in denial.
And how old were you? But you were in denial about what?
Everything.
About what?
Just denial.
Family abuse and all that shit?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe a woman like Kathleen Heaney that I grew up with, who turns out to have schizophrenia in her family, gets me misdiagnosed as having schizophrenia. The HSE finding it out years later and just covering it up, like, you know. Something like the cervical scan, where they knew about it in 2016, they covered it up because they didn't want to lose money. They put money over women's lives, and all those women dying because of cancer. And then that young girl in the HSE being raped, taken out of the foster family, and 2 other young girls left in it. And the reason why the HSE staff said, hey, guess what? It's more traumatic to move them to another family than it is to leave them with a rapist. And they got raped. How, what sense? What is it with the HSE, guys? HSE, wake up! See the shit HSE you cause.
And you had 2 or 3 hospitals shut down because.
Oh yeah, I mean it was really fun. Like, it wasn't. I didn't know I was going to get them shut down. St. Edith's Portrane shut down. Central Mental Hospital shut down. Brennan's shut down. Also, not only that, a lot of good staff that loved their job, but there's bad staff in there that stole money from patients and abused patients, and they were all sacked. And your man in the HSC from Portrane on YouTube video saying, we were never thanked. Yeah, I know you're never thanked, but you got a huge redundancy payout, didn't you? That's your thanks. For 40 years of service of abusing people. He was one of the abusers. If you look at the Tusla website, it will explain to you those 4 features: emotional, physical, neglect, and sexual. It was all aspects of emotional abuse, every aspect of emotional abuse. Physical abuse is with wooden spoons and physically beating me with her hands when I was from the age of about maybe 2-3 years old. Neglect is sensory deprivation, locked me in rooms all day, even boasting about how she put me in the crib with timber over the crib and concrete blocks and keep me in the crib all day, not feeding me.
You weren't fed then?
No, I wasn't fed. I had no contact with my brothers or anything. We locked in the room all day. Also, she used to beat me when I
nearly
cried.
had an electric shock.
Yeah, I electrocuted myself at the age of about 3, 4. She came into the room, I went out, I was crying my eyes out, she came in and beat my senses. See, when I used to cry, she used to beat me to stop me crying.
How did you electrocute yourself?
I had a socket, there was a socket in the wall, I just took it out, curious to see what happened. I put it back in, but I held my 2 fingers in the pins.
Alright.
So when I put it in, I just flew across the room, 240 volts through me across the room, like, you know.
And she came in and beat you then for that?
I was crying my eyes out, knocked on the door, I was locked into the room. She was on the telephone, as she said she was, and she just came in and knocked the shit out of me, knocked me senseless. I mean, that was a common occurrence, you know, beating me when I was crying, to stop me crying, like, you know. She's trying to, why would you beat a child for crying? I was only a baby when it started happening.
Tell me about the sexual abuse at the age of 7, was it?
Well, you see, she came up to me and she said, I want to check you out, like, you know. And she started kind of, you know, for a long time, I never talked about this, like, you know. And it happened, she started checking my testicles and my penis, like, you know. And every day she'd come up to me, you know, feeling me around there. And this was going on for about 3 or 4 weeks, you know. And I was only a kid, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, 3, I'm not sure. And it happened in Blackrock, County Louth, where we lived, and I just felt uncomfortable. And I didn't feel anything, I just said, why is she doing this to me? You know, and I gave her a wallop one day when she was doing it. I told her to stop, and she never done it again. She stopped it, like, you know. But why was she, years later she said to me she checked me out for testicle cancer. I mean, 4 years later I asked her, why did you do that to me? You know, I met Tusla, and Tusla said they weren't going to prosecute her. I said, why not? Tusla said, oh, she's just playing nurse with you. Just being a nurse. She was a nurse, but I mean, Tusla failed me. Well, see, due to all that, I had some traumatic events in my life as well. You know, I pushed myself hard. I tried to achieve what our sons achieved because we're pushed into going to college and whatever. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to be a professional cyclist. Thought about the army. Spent 3 weeks in the FCA, got kicked out for being cheeky to the sergeant who was bullying me. Couldn't take bullying, you know. And I wanted to be a guard, but couldn't speak Irish, you know, because I'm dyslexic. You know, and got memory problems, and had ADHD. I found out years later. So attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and then I found out I was born with a sleep disorder, obstructive sleep apnea, and that's the reason why I had my breakdown. Due to all the trauma I was going through, pushing myself to college. One day I was just with my mates, and bang, my mind snapped. But it wasn't a psychotic breakdown; it was emotional. And then for the next 2 days, I went back to work in a badly emotional state, you know, thinking about my mother, where's my real family? I mean, I found out at 12 when I ran away from home, I was adopted from a family. You know, 12 years old, find out you're not living with your real family. But the thing about it was, I knew there was something wrong. That's why I went to Dundalk and ran away. I started running away at 5.
And you'd been treated differently by your brothers?
Yeah, I knew to something. My brothers were always fighting me. Don, Ron and Connor and Angus were always fighting me as a kid. The mother always beating the hell out of me. And my adopted dad, Jim, just sitting there doing nothing about it. You know? He just stuck us in an office like you'd never known. But I don't know if he knew this was going on, but he never knew.
Well, you were saying before about how she manipulated the mental health services. She'd actually got you diagnosed, like misdiagnosed, did she? Or?
Yeah, she said, I found it years later, she said I had a psychiatric disorder from when she adopted me. So, from the age of 1 year or whatever I was adopted, I had a psychiatric disorder. She said I had schizophrenia all my life, like, you know. And she said to the doctors I was hearing voices and seeing things in my mind and everything. And she's also saying around the area, to families in the area, because I looked different, I acted different than my brothers. Instead of saying I was adopted, she said I was just a friend of the family. And both my natural parents were schizophrenics. They couldn't look after me, so they were looking after me because my parents were schizophrenics. Christine O'Reilly and Marcia Callahan, Devin Limerick, my parents, right, we never married due to my father walking away with my mother, beautiful Christine. You know,
They weren't schizophrenic.
no, the schizophrenia was in Kathleen Heaney's family. I found out years later. I found out her brother and sister were schizophrenics. And the health board knew about this as well. The health board, with that phone call, the health board knew there was a mental illness in my adopted mother's
So
family.
she was going around telling the neighbours that she had basically taken you in as an act of kindness.
Yeah.
Because your parents were schizophrenic.
Yeah.
When in fact her family was the schizophrenics. And
that's what she knew about.
Your natural family your birth family were actually okay.
You see, that's how she manipulated the health board. Because her brother and sister were schizophrenics, she knew what schizophrenia was. So she got me put on drugs, schizophrenic drugs, by the health board, you know. And then the health board copped on. When the health board copped on about this, I don't know. But all I knew was I got a phone call about 10 years later saying, find the truth, you're misdiagnosed. That your mother, the mental health illness is in your mother's family. It's your mother who's the mental health illness. I mean, she's a psychopath. Kids in the area used to call her Psycho Bitch. You know? Her nickname in the area in the school was Psycho Bitch. She's a psycho. There's psychopaths and neurotics. She's a psychopath. Like half her family, you know? Three psychiatric hospitals closed down. St. Edith's, Brennan's and Central Mental one. And a load of staff sacked, being made redundant. And I saw one guy on YouTube saying, oh, we never got thanks for our service. And yet the human rights abuse I saw go on in those psychiatric hospitals was unbelievable. And what I suffered at the hands of psychiatrists, they didn't know what they were doing. They used the truth against me to detain me illegally. And then when I went to the High Court case and got proved illegally detained in the High Court due to my adopted mother sectioning me illegally, you know, numerous times. And I had a health board pump me up on drugs to destroy my mind and destroy my body, you know, for 27 years to cover up adoption abuse, you know. And that's how they've done it in this country, in Ireland, is they use the mental health services, the HSC did, the adoption boards and the government, like Bertie Hearn and all those players who set them up, like, you know what I mean? You know?
They use them as weapons.
Use them as weapons against innocent kids who are abused. Abuse ain't only sexual, it's emotional, traumatic and everything. And people who have emotional breakdowns like I did get pumped up on drugs to hide the abuse we suffered. Just like the women at the Sheriffville scam, they knew better because financially didn't want to expose because they wanted to protect themselves from money. That's what it's all about, money. When you put people who are materialistic, like Bertie Hearn in charge and like the leaders of the HSC and everything like that, they only think about financial recourse, then you've got a failure in the system because they're willing to gamble lives. And they do gamble with people's lives and people die all for money. It's not about the money or recourse, it's about the justice system. No, I'm writing to expose human rights abuse under mental health services and adoption abuse.